Welcome everybody out to the March meeting of Utah Gold Prospecting Club. Glad to see everybody made it. Glad to see that the weather is nice and yada yada yada. So we have any visitors here for the first time? Visitors? Oh, a bunch on this side. Just stand up, say where you guys are from. First name only.
Welcome.
We probably got do we have any new members this evening?
I'm a visitor.
That's fine, that works. Trust me, you won't get out of here before you join, I guarantee it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Huh? Who? Oh,
You don't have to. Welcome, Brian.
well, glad to have all you folks. Totally awesome. Okay, last meeting, we had 62 attending, I think it was, and we brought in 841, so it was not too bad of a meeting. I mean, it was good. So, but anyway, I don't have any more beds of book here with me this evening, so sorry about that. Next meeting I will have them. If you guys got any conversation or if your cell phone starts ringing during the meeting, please go out in the hallway so we don't disturb everybody. Okay. I'll go from shortest to the longest. Okay. The problem with getting the gold bags have been solved. As everybody knows, Kayla's bags have been on the table. They're all sold out. They're all gone. So next meeting we'll try to have a little bit more. And if you missed it, we will be selling them at the Wasatch Gem Show. So you'll have another opportunity to buy those nuggets and buy those bags. Okay, on the drawing on the right side of me, we've got two small bags have been added. One on the regular drawing is just got smaller gold in it, and the one on the left on the nugget draw is hopefully got a little nugget on it. So all the ones that were placed on the nugget side, they hit on a proper metal detector. So if it's big enough to ring on the detector, it's bigger stuff. Okay, for all you new folks or old folks or whoever folks, the early membership dues will be raised $5 after May 1st. So if you guys do renewals, anything like that, get it done before the end of April, and still you won't be charged the extra $5. So the membership will be going from 35 up to 40, and that is to help cover the operating costs of the club. And if gold doesn't quit going up, it's going to be even harder to get those bags. But, you know, we're all good. And also, with the new cards, we've got new cards over there, so if you sign up last meeting, go up there, exchange your card for the new ones this evening, and get that done, just so we've got all the new cards up to par for everybody. And as always, when you're filling out your waiver, please print clearly, because we do get a lot of memberships and cards in the mail saying the address is bad, or the person don't live there, or something crazy. Okay, we're still waiting for the new information from the BLM from Idaho, so we get those new claim guys going. We want to jump into that as soon as we can, because moving around that claims guide is going to take a little time to get it done. So, and for everybody's info, the Wasatch Gem and Mineral Show is on 19th, 20, We don't know if we're gonna stay till that Sunday. We normally just do the Friday and Saturday and close shop on Saturday so everybody can be home. But anyway, we do need volunteers to help work the booth. The booth is normally, we're upstairs, right at the main entrance before you go downstairs on the floor. So, I think that, what time I got? Still got a couple of minutes. Okay, so I think everybody's here. I need Phil to come up here. You want me to just stand up for you, Phil? I need Matt up here. Don't matter. And I need Rick up here. Come on, Rick.
Rick.
Not standing up. I need you guys up here. Press 1 for English. I know. I'm sorry. I'm not politically correct. Well, yeah, that's up to you guys. It all depends.
This is initiation. I've been a member and an officer for a long time. So.
You might like it. Who knows?
I knew you had that fellow with the whole just for some.
Okay, we don't normally do this too often, but when the time comes up when it needs to be taken care of, we normally do this. So tonight we're doing it. So I'm just gonna plop my big mouth. Hopefully everybody will hear us. Don't get me all chewy on it. You know, we can't handle it. Okay, I will explain what's going on.
Police say you didn't serve, but he said you didn't serve.
Not the first time.
That's good. Kind of like a Johnny Cash Cadillac in the years 15, 16, 17.
Okay, what these are,
Let's see.
usually members gotta be an officer 10 plus years, and then what we do, we award them an honorary, because they're honorary all the time, lifetime membership. And so Rick's gone over 10. I think Matt's about 9.5. He's barely hitting 10. And Bill's only put 2, but due to the fact of the contributions that he done last year, he's probably paid for his membership probably 1,000 times over. So we normally do that to show appreciation to folks that have gone up and above what, you know, whatever happens. So I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm just glad everybody was here tonight. Okay, I think I am done what needs to be done tonight, and so we will turn the time over to don't get old, you forget crap. Dale and Larry. I don't think Larry's the first son. Have you been? Larry's been around, so, and everybody knows Dale. His book's an Apollo Legend book, so it's going to be an awesome presentation tonight, and it's titled "Using Google Earth and Other Tools When Trying to Locate the Mind." So, give these guys an undivided attention. We'll go to like about 8:15 and whatever hour it is. Thank you, brother.
That's a little easier. I'm out of the light now. Most of you know me. I'm Dale Bascom.
Going to the light. Don't do it. Yeah, not yet.
Anyway, it's good to be back with you. I don't come every month. Santa Quinn's a little ways away from me. So. Now, I need to introduce my colleague and friend. This is Larry Marshall.
Hi.
I brought him along because he knows a lot more than I do. So I'm going to take just a little bit of time. And then I'll turn the time over to Larry. You know, it used to be really easy to find the mines, or at least to find the symbols that lead you to the mines. Okay, gotta get closer, okay.
Yeah.
Back in the 1980s, my dad told me about Mosby Mountain and all of the symbols that were up there. So he and I went up there. I want to backtrack just a little bit. Do we have any carpenters here? There's a carpenter. What kind of tools do you use in carpentry?
All sorts of them. Which one do you want?
Okay. You use tools there. They're important to you, right? Do we have any doctors here or nurses here? No? Okay. I'm sure we have some other professions represented here. What tools do you use, and are they important? Okay, well tonight we're going to talk about tools that we have access to in the prospecting realm and in the treasure hunting realm. Anyway, things have changed over the decades. Back in the 1980s, my dad told me about the symbols that were up on Mosby Mountain. So he and I went up there in 1982 and started tracking out these symbols. That's a big expedition symbol. Now, who knows, does everybody here know about cattle and brands? Yeah, I thought so. So, these are sort of like family brands, if you will. Okay? Expedition symbols. There's a better picture of it. I know some of you are going to not believe me, so I brought this book. It's about Spanish silver bars. You're welcome to look through it. The guys that wrote this did the research. You know, there's a lot of people that have access to things more than what I do. So I don't have the time to go to Spain and do the research. You know, it'd be fun to do that, but I can't do that. He's documented many different symbols, family expedition symbols. So, for example, we know that the Ronaldo family was in here. We know the Garcia family was in here. There's quite a few different families that were in here looking for gold and so on. And so each one had their own symbol. Actually, I'm going to tell you something. Now, it doesn't matter if you believe me or not, but a good friend of mine actually saw a gold bar a couple years ago, and it had the Peralta expedition family symbol on it. Can you imagine? Now, that came from the Moon Lake area. So that tells me the Peralta family was in here around Moon Lake recovering gold and doing their mining. Now, as we followed these symbols, the symbols led us over to the edge of the hill, so we're overlooking White Rocks Canyon. And here we have an expedition symbol and a cross on a tree. And then in this box, we have a cursive A, a large heart, and a small heart. So About this time I was involved with a guy named Bob Fair. He was my instructor at the Tech. And he said, well, if we understand this symbol correctly, we should put her back to that symbol, stick out our left arm, and go down the hill that direction. So that's what we did. And it led us to this huge iron outcropping, about 80% iron, huge. And as we were digging, trying to find the old opening, we assumed it was a mine, we didn't know, but we thought it could be. I found, here's a backup one, I actually found a soggy stick of dynamite right in this area. Well, that tells me somebody had been there doing some excavation, right? Or maybe trying to cover up their mines, I don't know. I was a little scared, I'd never worked with dynamite before. So I went down the hill about 25 yards away where I didn't figure there'd be much traffic. And I went ahead and took that soggy stick of dynamite in my shovel very carefully, walked it over to the new hole and dumped it in. Covered it up, of course. I hope it never comes to light again, who knows. But that's what Bob Fair and I call the crack mine. It's not the crack mine that Caleb Rhodes worked in, that the Indians lowered him down. That's a totally different area, okay? So tonight we're going to talk about mapping programs and how to use the mapping programs, Google Earth and some others, to help us locate these mines. Just out of curiosity, how do the fault lines line up with where Bob Fair and I were? Okay, this is Mosby Mountain. You can see Mosby Mountain, Ice Cave Peak, and so on. We followed the expedition symbols over to the edge and down the hill, and that's pretty close to right where that line is there. So that's a fault line. So we were apparently right on a fault line and didn't even know it. Now, we can actually do this in reverse, and we can find these fault lines, and that's what Larry's going to show you out here in just a minute. And then we can track out those fault lines and see where they lead us, see what mines we can find. Sound like a plan?
Yeah.
Larry and I are really excited to be here tonight because we're getting too old to do this. We want to turn this over to the younger generation, right?
That's correct.
Here you go, Larry.
Okay, thank you.
How many of you have gotten on the interactive geological map portal?
All the time.
All the time.
I think so. I can't remember.
Okay, that's where we're gonna start. All right.
Yeah, that's it. I've been on that.
This is what pretty much comes up.
Oh, excuse me. This is pretty much what comes up whenever you bring up this portal. You're gonna find lots and lots of fault lines. As he already discussed, where are most of the mines found if you actually track it down to the source?
Fault lines and volcanoes.
That's right. Most of them are going to be along fault lines, unless you're finding gold that has been washed downstream, and you find it in the stream. That's where you're going to find it most of the time. So what we thought, I thought I would do, this took me a few years to come to this conclusion, that what we need to do is get on this, and then what do we need to do to get the information that's on this website onto Google Earth? Well, let me just show you one example. Right here, we know that is Granddaddy Lake. We see these two fault lines here. Now, what I started out doing is I said, okay, let's see. This is the start of the fault line. Take a look where I've got that arrow. What do you see at the bottom? You see the latitude and longitude? In this case, it's in the degrees and then decimals. Or I think that's how you say it. Now, this gives us the opportunity to put it in something else if we want to. We can toggle it, do degrees, and minutes. So whichever you prefer, it can be that way. Me, I like the decimal degrees. So the first thing we want to do is we want to get to the end of the fault line. And you want to hit it as precise as possible. What you need to do now, what you need to do now is you need to go ahead and write down these coordinates on a piece of paper. That's going to be your first coordinates. Okay, you go down until this is changing direction. So you get where you think that's actually changing direction. You write those coordinates down. Excuse me, you come down some more, there's another turn. You keep going, and as far as you want to go, you keep going and writing down those coordinates. So you may end up on this line right here, you might end up with 5, 6, 7 coordinates because of all the bends before you reach the end of the fault. Some places you go 1, 2. Most of them are not that simple. So once you've got that information, now is the time that you want to go to Google Earth. And let me take you there right now. Okay, let's come over here. Excuse me. To that same fault line. Okay, that's what we've got right there. I inputted the information, the GPS coordinates on every point. I made one of these, it wasn't for this particular symbol, but I clicked on that, came up with a box. I took it over there, made sure it lined up with the coordinates I had. Then I made that as a point. I named that point. The next thing I did is I made the second point and on down. Now, here's the next step that's really important, and you can have so much information contained in this that it's amazing. Let's click on it and find out what happens. Properties. Okay, what have we got there? Well, we've got the beginning, which is GD2 through GD2-2. We've got 1,603 feet between the first and the second one, and the degrees in grid north. Well, that's quite a bit of information. If you're out there, you're going to need to know where to go, how to get there. You're going to want to put it into your GPS and follow it that way, or you want to use your compass. All you have to do is take these grid norths and add your declination on. Does everybody know what a declination is? That's how far off of grid north that the magnetic north is in your particular location. Now I'm going to backtrack just a bit here. I'm going to take you to another website you may be interested in. No, yeah, not yet. I'm sorry, this is the one I want. Okay, here it is, the magnetic declination. This map always starts out here near Cincinnati. But we come over here to Utah, and it takes us in. We pull up a place, let's say we want it near Granddaddy Mountain, or Granddaddy Lake. There we go. So now we put it where we are probably right now, and look what comes up. We've got, tells us what the magnetic declination is. That'd be almost 10.5 degrees, because that, 10 degrees, 30 minutes would be 10.5 degrees. So, you need to decide which one. Your decision now is, do I want to make it go on 10.5 degrees, or do I just want to keep it on 10? Well, you want the closest one. And if on your compass, if that you're using a compass, that's important. If you're using your GPS to find your location, not necessary, because you just know from one point to the next, right? Okay, but if you don't, then you want to know wherever that is, what your declination is. Otherwise, you're going to be going off somewhere you shouldn't be. All right, let's go back to Google Earth. Now, I want to show you actually how to do this. I'm just going to make an arbitrary new point. Okay. Okay, that's how you would make a point. Only you're going to put it wherever the latitude and longitude are. You can actually click this up before you have to put, and then put your own longitude and latitude in there, and it'll take you right to the place when you click back on this. Or click OK, sorry. So there's our first place mark. Just repeat it over here where we want the second one. Oops. I know what I'm doing, really. Worked on it for 2 years. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, now we're gonna make that point. Okay, now that you've got 2 points, now you need to make your line. And you're going to click on this ruler. Brings this up. You take your square, click on one point. To the next point, and look what you've got. Right there you've got the distance in feet from the one point to the other point. And look what else is there. It's got your degrees in grid north. Okay, so what do you want to do now? I'll tell you, you want to write that down. Because I'll show you something else that happens if you don't. You get out there and you say, oh, I know it's between these two grids. I could follow it, but how far am I going to go? Well, you have it there. And if I get lost, in what direction is it supposed to be? All right. So what we do is we will click that. Now, what do you need to do? Not yet. We're not going to give it a name yet. Okay, there's the line measure. What are we going to call it? I'm going to call it, if this line, oh, I should have made one of those two, 1 and 2. Let's say UL1 and UL2, okay? Uh-oh, what did I forget? I didn't write it down. And I've done that so many times. Now you have to go back and remeasure it if you didn't write it down. So, I'm gonna have to remeasure it. So we'll push OK for this so far. So You're gonna come back up here to the ruler. It's not always easy to get it exact, but close. Okay, now this one, all right, 2,914 feet. Hmm? Oh, sorry. I'm not used to using a microphone. 2,914 feet and 8798. Do you want to write that down? I'm trying to show them how to do this.
Okay, so it's what?
2,914 feet, 87.98 degrees, or 88 degrees.
Okay.
Okay. Now not gonna save that one because we already saved the other one. Now we'll get back over here to the, what did I call it? UL2 to UL1 to UL2.
Yep.
Oops. Clear. Okay, now we're gonna write in 2,000, how much?
2,914 feet, I think it was.
And the degrees is
That's 88 degrees.
88, okay. Okay, so every time you click on this, we're saving it, every time you click on this now, this line, oops. I should have practiced this. It's gonna give you from UL1 to UL2, 2,914 feet, 88 degrees. So I've done that for every one of these places here. I've done that. Maybe I'll just put it on my mouth and then. Okay. Now let's look at some places here that Dale already talked about. Let's show you the first one.
The degree symbol. But you gotta hold Alt 2 for it.
Okay, he was talking about Crow Creek. And you can see right here in Crow Creek, we have a fault here, here, all the way down here. We have another fault here, here, all the way down here. And we wanted to do one more, which was here. And we discovered there's another small one right down in here that covers this area. Why is that important? I'm gonna bring up a picture here. Now this is in Dell's book. If you can see, now let me put it up here by the arrow. You can see that there's this line that goes from here up to the edge of the circle. And this there, it says, here is a very rich vein of gold, 5 feet down, according to, is it Lester? Lester Psychic. He had a psychic that told him this. Well, how do you know for sure?
Boots on the ground.
Yeah, boots on the ground, but how can you
Unless you dig
verify
it,
that
I'd
just
throw
a,
that, throw
huh?
it away. I wouldn't even put that on my map. I would erase it. Unless you dig it and
Now,
save
let
it
me
for
ask you
data.
this question. What if,
Geological survey?
I can tell you there's 1,000 pounds of gold underneath the Mormon temple there.
what if I told you to look at this? Where does that fault line really go through? How can we tell on Google Earth? How about we come right up to the top and we do this? Oh. Gives us a topo map. Well, I looked at that map that he had, that Lester had. I compared it to this here. They're the same. A fault line goes right through there. Does that increase the probability that there might be gold there?
Yeah.
Well, it does now. Before you thought a psychic, right? Well, now, hey, it really could be there. Not only that, I recently did some looking at other places. There are 4 sites along this particular vein where there are other mines indicated. Do you think those might have a high probability of having gold there? Yeah. Okay, let's leave this. Let's go to, over here to Mosby Mountain. Okay. All right, what do we see here? You can see that little flag I put right there. That's where Bob Fair said that there was a mine that, what did they have? They followed the trees and they followed the signs. That's good.
It's just like
Bob?
the Lost Roads mine, they have to sign on the trees, right?
So, are you sure you're there? Yeah, that's where it took him. Does it increase the probability if that fault line goes right there, the same place that Bob Fair indicated?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By
So,
the way, many of the Spanish symbols are no longer there on Mosby. Most of the trees have been cut down. So we can't use those as tools anymore. We have to go this way.
which, to me, if you can have another tool in your bag of tools to help you locate something and give you higher confidence that something is there, would you use it? Okay. Let's see one other place. Yeah. Now, I recently found a video made by Randy Lewis that was talking about the location of the King of Kings mine. If you'll bear with me, I'm going to turn this. Rotate it like that. We're going to bring this down like this. I'm going to show you something that I didn't believe till I saw it. Oops. Yeah, give me back there. YouTube. Oh, there it is, right there. What does that look like? We just saw it on Google Earth, right? This is what Randy Lewis drew with the information he had a while back. Both fault lines are there. Do you know where I believe the mine used to be, the opening used to be? I think it was right there. And why do I think it's there? Has anybody read the Hathenbrook report? I think it was in Utah Gold Rush. In that Hathenbrook report, there are 9 clues as to where it's located in that one report. I decided when I read that I was going to figure out where it was. But I didn't know. I didn't know where it was. I just happened to be up on Soapstone one time, and I met Randy up there. We were both looking for the lost staircase mine. And I just had come down off a ridge, and I saw him there, and I was talking to him, and I said to him, I said, I believe I figured out where the King of Kings mine is. And he said, no, you haven't. I said, I believe I have. He says, show me on a map. I said, you know, I have that audacity. Yeah, I'll show you, right? He pulls out the map and I point, it's right there in his jaw. How did you know that? I said, I followed the Hathenbrook report. That's where it led me, was right there. He says, at this time, he said, don't tell anybody. And I said, okay. He said, if that is where it is, he says, but I've got something to tell you. He said 10 years ago, and this was about 5 years ago, he said the Indians went up there and dynamited the cliff over it and covered it up. Oh. Then he said something that I remembered that I had recalled. He said, remember, the tunnel went clear through the mountain to the south side. There's got to be an opening on the south side. Could you find it? Perhaps. You know where the grid line is. You know where the fault line goes. It's not going to be easy, but it's just something more you can put in your toolbox. And by the way, this was just 4 seconds on his video that he had that showed the map. When I saw that map, I said, I know where that is. So it kind of impressed me. There's some other things. How much time?
25 minutes still, we're doing good.
Oh, okay, I'll carry this on just a little bit further then. Okay, let's come to something else. Let me come down here. Well, so far, I hope you've just realized that you can have one more tool. Now, yeah. I made a copy of my Google Earth files, and they're on these thumb drives. I've already given 2 away. Now I'm hoping the people that got them will do something nice and take the ones that they've got and make copies of that for other people around them. Here's 3 more, but I would really like promises from whoever gets these that they're going to pass on the information. They're going to let somebody else load this down on another thumb drive, and that person can download it onto their Google Earth and have this information at their fingertips. Why am I doing this? It took me a long time. Could I charge for this? I don't know. Do I want to? No. We're to the point where there's so many people who know so much but can't verify it, and we're not getting younger. And we can't do it all. We need to get this information out there to as many people as we can and let them know there's real possibilities if you have this available to you. So when we're over, I hope that there's 3 people who will come up here and promise that they'll pass this on to everybody they know. Yes?
Question, let's say up where you've got East Granddaddy there,
Mm-hmm.
okay. If you were looking at at a map, like we are here, and you wanna know, what does that look like? Is there a correlation where you could click on that and Google Earth will show a picture of it?
Let's do this. Are you talking that?
Yeah,
You
that's
took-
just a click up there. Show 'em where the duck is.
Yeah, all I did was click on this Earth Point topo map. It goes from here to the topo,
Right,
back.
okay,
Yeah.
So,
I asked him the same thing.
yeah.
so are there other places out there? Well, reading some more of Hathenbrook's travels, I came up with some really interesting things over here in the Duchesne River area. He talked about 4 places where you could find gold, panning for gold, and they were in some box canyons. What have we got right through here?
Wow.
Box canyons with the faults gone through them. There's another area here that could be considered another box canyon because. So what else have we got? Well, we know there's faults over here on Lightning Ridge. Anybody heard of that area? Yeah. Well, there's 4 faults right through here. There are so many faults out there that I don't even know if there's any reason to even look at them. I hope Dale doesn't mind, but I did this, and guess what? These are all from Rock Creek over into Peterson Gulch.
Oh, wow.
There are faults there. I did not take the time to put in all the faults and points in Miners Gulch because there were so many. They don't go clear across the gulch, but they go up the sides. I think it's 12 or 13 on my last count. Could I do that? Yeah. Would I do that? Maybe. And if I did, I tried to get that information to you, if you're interested. If you're not, if you need some help, I'll teach you how to do it yourself. Okay? Let me show you some pictures I've got. There we go. There's some really interesting pictures here. Remember, we're talking about Crow Creek. Can you recognize that place right there? Okay, do you know where that fault goes through? That we looked at up in Crow Creek? Right through there. Now you have a vision of it in your mind. Let's go to the next one.
Okay. There are also other stories that go along with that area. Bob Fair had a student in his class whose uncle used to go up to that cliff face that's up there at the head of Crow Creek. And he would somehow, I don't know if somebody let him in, let him down with a rope or something, but he would climb into that hole, that tunnel, that cave, natural cave that's on the cliff face there. He'd go to the back of it, and there was a little bit stringer of gold, about as wide as a butter knife, in the back of that cave. He would go in there and chip it away and get what he wanted. So all these stories, it's good to have more than one tool. If you have stories to back up some things and you have documentation, it goes quite a ways.
Thank you. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. You can't see it, but this is the same, or it's from a different angle, but this is the same area. Right in here is where the fault goes through. Now, remember in the Daniels? You may have a map of that area. He talked about 3 knolls. Well, if you get to the top of this one, that's the tallest one. I found the other 2. I took pictures of those, but they didn't turn out. I'm sorry, they didn't turn out. But I've got a different view from the north side. Let's get to that one. There it is. There's knoll 1, knoll 2, and knoll 3 at the head of Crow Creek.
You want to show them the rock monument also in Crow Creek?
I can.
I don't know if we have enough time, but.
We've still got 15 minutes?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, we can. Yeah, I gotta go back. There it is. Right here in the middle is a monument. Dale found this monument. Let's go to the next picture. And let's go to the third picture. Now, Dell, for a long time, I don't know if he still thinks that it was pointing down that way to the south. I found a fault line that goes up near the ridge on the top in the opposite direction.
So there actually could be a couple of good things, important things in this area. So I stood beside this sighting rock and used my PPL rod, which to me is another tool, because I have found gold with it before. And I pointed about the same direction as what the hole is showing, a sighting hole, and sure enough, it tells me that there's some kind of a vein or something important down the canyon in that direction. So there might be something important in both directions. It's possible. We've seen arrows, Mark Urey and I have seen arrows up in Rhodes Canyon that point to stuff both directions. Right, Mark?
Yep.
Thanks.
So I think this was a very important find because all the people that have been through Crow Creek,
Let me say something. Thanks, Larry. By the way, we're losing a lot of our history. Either things get damaged, things get destroyed. Who knows? I'm not going to point the finger at any one or any group of individuals, but I'm just saying that it's, if you find something like that, document it, please. Take pictures of it and say in your diary when and where you found it and what it was pointing at, things like that, so that we don't lose that history forever, because We're losing our history. Thanks.
Has anybody ever seen this tree?
Oh, that's a cool one. I like that.
Anybody?
No.
Am I the only one?
Might be the only one that looks right there.
Making a heart.
I haven't even told Dale where it's at.
True.
Yes, that's a heart. It's about 30 feet up a tree. And how short did that thing have to be when they made it grow like that? I don't know. Let's look at the bottom of the tree. Anything jump out at you in this?
Separate carving there.
There's some kind of carving.
A what?
Carving.
Arrow, yeah. Look at that.
Saying look up.
It's pointing off that way. Anything else you see there? Let me give you a hint. I'm gonna highlight it. AR. Anybody you might know? Antonio Rinaldi?
AR is also on one of the silver bars. So it's a family name.
This is a pretty interesting tree, and it is really big around. I mean, it's really a large size tree. Okay, there's a couple other
Landmark.
photos. Pardon me? Oh. Any questions so far? Any? All right. Let's get to, anybody seen this view of Granddaddy Lake?
Cool.
That's beautiful.
I spent a couple hours hiking over the top of the mountain from the blind stream side to get this picture. As far as I know, that's the only picture taken from this vantage point.
Yeah, I can see. By the way, has anybody seen the bird symbol up in Blind Stream? If you look at that bird symbol and you find it on the Quakey, and then you look at the topo map for the Granddaddy Lake area, just a little west of where he would have taken this picture, if you look at that topo, it forms a great big bird. And it looks just exactly like the one in Blind Stream. Nobody can tell me that there are coincidences like that. I think the Spaniards went out of their way to give us as much information as they could.
Now I want to show you a picture of the location of the King of Kings mine. What I believe is it. It is. I believe the mine is right in here, or used to be. This is looking from the west side down onto the north face of East Granddaddy Peak.
Cool.
Is it? I don't know, but it should be right along that fault line.
So Larry, what rock is that?
Pardon?
Kind of a
Is it the
rock.
red pine shell?
Let's look on Google Earth.
Yeah.
Or not Google Earth, I'm sorry.
Gives you an idea how big
It's
USGS.
USGS. Well, it says that this is,
YUR?
yeah, YUH, Hades Pass Unit of Wallace of the Uinta Mountain Group. Grayish red, brownish red, whitish gray quartz, sandstone, arkose, and shell containing thick tomato red and so forth.
Red pine shell,
skull.
which is the most economic, including Shaughnessy formation in Carter House.
Yes.
And actually it forms a band, you can follow the band, from Moon Lake west.
The other side.
Notice how all still stuff falls in that 4-mile band.
To either side of the South Flank Fault.
Knew about the multi, that, what about 10-ton rock, 5-ton rock?
And I think I'm almost done. Let me see if there's any more, oh, there's one more photo.
Beautiful.
Sometimes we can't see what we're looking for because it goes beyond the sight of what our current knowledge is. Like looking down this road. Does it continue on? Does it turn left? Does it turn right? If you had a little bit of information, would it help? Yeah. That's all I've got to say. If there's any questions, please ask them.
Yeah, I wanna see that picture on the Box Canyon again,
On which,
over there by Stoneface.
okay,
Pretty familiar with what that area,
okay.
I wasn't too sure about. So, what did you say, that was written in what?
That was written in the Utah Gold Rush. One of them was a Brook report, and then the other was an additional report that he made on different finds.
So that's a Schaefer book. Right? No?
No.
That's
I've got a copy of that
Randy Lewis book.
in my file that I can show you.
And if you show me the aerial, I kind of
Sure.
help you with what I know. of
Half
this
and
area.
back, yeah. You're talking about this area right here.
By the machine, right? By the machine river.
Yeah, this is Duchesne River. Here's the Aspen campground. Does that help?
Where's Stoneface?
Stoneface, right there.
Oh, okay. Oh, over there, okay. So, that's the North Fork of Duchesne.
Yes.
If you scroll a little bit down bottom of the screen, just there, so right there at the point, at the top, you've got a Peralta, at the top of that ridge line where you got that fault going over. You've got a Peralta monument there.
Ah,
And if you go down Highway 35,
this way.
over there,
Yeah, there's
right
one.
there, you've got another Peralta monument.
I've seen it.
Okay. And then have you seen the one on the other side of Highway 35, just before you get to Westport of the Duchesne? There's a sign that says Westport of the Duchesne.
Right, I've seen the sign.
You stop there at the sign, you walk back up the hill about 50 to 75 feet, and there's another Peralta stone monument that people can see.
Now, there is a stone monument, another one that I've seen. Where's Rhodes Canyon?
Where's that picture?
Rhodes Canyon. It's right here.
I don't want to talk about that.
Let me tell you, there's another monument up in here. I've been to that one.
So, zoom out a little bit so I know where you're at.
Okay. This is where you come off Rhodes Canyon. This is, on this side over here, you see that tunnel that's been dug there.
Okay.
Zoom out a little further.
Okay.
Keep going. Keep going.
You want me just to turn it off?
Yes.
People can see what really 1500, 1600 15, 1600, that's the years of, that's when they put up the monuments. So I'm gonna let you know where a really good Spanish monument, stone monument is. Just ask you, don't disturb it, because people go out and destroy this stuff. The interesting thing about the one right up the road from Westport of the Duchesne sign off Highway 35, it actually shows the split. So it's actually showing you the split up North Fork and the split down Westport. So it's really cool for people to see what the old people did with their monuments. You can see it firsthand.
Good point, thank you. Anything else?
Is there a hand over here? Do you have a hand? No? Okay. Anybody else have a question? Isn't this exciting?
That's it.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, you better run. If someone gets one for me, I'll put it on the website.